Hey guys, it's Davin here with the House Hacker Tribe, and today we're going to be going over a controversial topic, which is real estate investing unethical? And so there's a couple of ways to think about this. I mean, we could come to the conclusion that landlords are just evil, greedy people that want to take all your money away, all your hard-earned money. And there's another argument to make that real estate is expensive for reasons beyond these landlords' control. These landlords understand these reasons, why real estate is appreciating in value so rapidly, and they happen to benefit from a lot of these good attributes of owning real estate. And we'll even talk about the consequences of it too. So, without any further ado, like I said, we talk about real estate investing on this channel, and so I really couldn't give up the opportunity to answer this question when somebody asked me, is real estate investing unethical? So let's dive right in. I mean, a lot of people would say it is unethical because of the economic burden that it has on regular everyday people who either want to own a home or want to rent a home. And so people that own a home have to compete with investors because investors are out there in the marketplace buying these homes and selling them. And you have to kind of work on their prices and on their terms because they represent a significant portion of the market. And if you don't want to compete with them, they're still going to buy and sell houses anyway in all types of market conditions. And so if you're not going to buy, you're just going to end up renting from a landlord. And so you still have to kind of work with their pricing structure to some degree and work with the market. So if they're driving up prices, that can make it really inconvenient, honestly. So if it's inconvenient, is it unfair? That's the question that we have to legitimately ask ourselves. And so I want to address that there are banking programs that make it easier for certain people to buy housing than other people. I mean, that's just the facts. I mean, if you have a good paying job for the last 2 years, consistent income, you're going to be qualified a lot easier than somebody who's an entrepreneur, right? Someone like me who owns a business or somebody that doesn't work full time. It's going to be very difficult for that person to ever own a home, even if they would make a great homeowner and even if they would pay the bank back on time. The bank's still not going to care. The bank's going to say, hey, look, do you meet these requirements? And they are hard requirements that some people just straight up don't meet. On the other side of it, some people just take the opinion of, you know what, I personally think real estate prices are too high, and so I don't want to buy and support the needs of my future family's needs. And so what they do is they just rent because they think that renting is more economically feasible than buying. And then when rents increase, they complain about renting. And then, they look at the buying market and they say, well, real estate's more expensive than 3 years ago when I wanted to buy. And so it's this never-ending cycle. And so I do want to address the fact that if you can afford a home, you probably should buy a home and just hold on to it. I mean, they're great investments. But even with all these economic burdens, should people be greedy about it? And I would definitely say that there are some landlords out there who try to take advantage of the market conditions, and they are usually unsuccessful, and so they usually end up losing more money than they actually end up making. So I wouldn't worry too much about major investors coming in with other people's money and playing around in the market. It's really not going to affect good homeowners with really good real estate strategy, which is what we teach on this channel. So if you want to watch our other videos, make sure you subscribe, and we'll put out new content as well, helping homeowners make more money and make great financial decisions. But on the other side of things, we can definitely say that landlords might know something that we don't. And if you're a good landlord, you might say that this is a positive thing that landlords are aware of. And so even if they're not aware of this concept, I think people are kind of intuitively aware of it enough to where it does affect market forces. And that's the environmental impact of real estate and human housing and just the way that we use the earth. And so real estate, like anything else, is a resource like water, right? And so water is controlled by the government. There's pricing models where if you want to, start a business or you want to start, a farm, you got to buy water rights. Just like if you want to do anything in the earth, you got to have access to real estate. And so real estate is one of those really fundamental resources that we have. And so how much of it is actually left to use? Well, human housing alone takes up 10% of the world. And that's just houses. And you got to think, there's hundreds of thousands of species of animals, bugs, insects, mushrooms, trees, foliage, fish, all these kinds of things, birds taking up space on Earth, and we take up 10% just with our housing. That's quite a bit. Then once you add up agriculture, you add up, things like in manufacturing and industry and infrastructure like dams and roads and bridges. And then you look at things like even data centers for like housing computers and just businesses and stores. All these things add up, and it adds up to 97% of the world that humans have touched or damaged. So 90%, 7% of all the real estate in existence has been damaged and tainted, which means that any additional piece of real estate is going to be very expensive to continue to damage the world. Every single time we, expand a little bit, it's going to continue to damage the world in really detrimental ways. So making new real estate is costly from an environmental standpoint. So if that's the case, if all the land that exists is there, and we've got rising oceans, so if the ocean rises, that takes away some land mass, and so if anything, we actually have less access to real estate than what we did in the past. And so between these two factors, because we can't keep expanding out into the wildlife, and because oceans are essentially taking away some beachfront property, this means that, in essence, real estate is becoming a limited resource in the world. It's becoming more and more scarce. And so, what do you have to do with scarce resources when you have a huge community of people? Well, you have to ration it. And there's different systems of rationing it, and you can say that they're fair or unfair. Some people say that capitalism is not fair, but capitalism says, hey, look, if you want to use real estate, this is the price of it, because it's very expensive for us to create new real estate or to use somebody else's. And so you always have to use somebody else's resource that somebody else has owned now. At this point, all the real estate that's in existence is pretty much owned, and about 99% of it, like we said, 97% of the whole world is damaged or touched by people. But of all the private property that is ever going to be available, 99% of it is already owned by somebody, and so you have to deal with that person. So landlords understand this concept that, hey, look, if there's this limited resource that exists and there's going to be more people on the planet, then people are going to have to be more efficient with their real estate usage. And how do you make people more efficient with something? Well, you raise the prices of it. That's what you do, right? So it's simple economic supply and demand. And so this environmental situation actually affects our economic situation, where now we have an issue like fuel costs, for example. Fuel's rising, and so what are people doing? People are thinking about buying electric cars. People are thinking about, just more efficient gas engines that are just smaller and, maybe a little bit less powerful, but, they can go more on a tank of gas. And so that's how, unfortunately, humans are wired, is we will not make a change unless we are forced to do so. So we can be proactive in the real estate market and say, hey, look, I'm going to buy real estate now with the understanding that it's going to get more expensive later. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay that it's expensive, because I understand that if I'm not in control of my own liabilities and things that I'll need in this world, then somebody else is going to control that. And so I would actually encourage you, if you can afford real estate, if you can afford to even just own your own home, whether you're going to be a landlord or not, just buy something for yourself, just to at least prevent future inflation from affecting you in, like I said, in your future needs. On the other side, if you do want to be a landlord, I would encourage you to be aware that this is a very valuable and very precious resource. And I want you to be able to use it in a way that's efficient, in a way that actually helps the world become a better place. So if you want to do that, make sure you subscribe to this channel, watch all of our videos, and comment down below, especially if you disagree. I mean, this was a controversial topic. So if you got something that you want me to touch on or go more in depth on, I would love to. So with that, thank you for watching. Leave us a like if you liked the video, and have a great day.